Hello, fellow watchers and enjoyers. It is I, Piggy. I'm joined by Ash.
Hello.
He is here. And yeah, so today we're going to cover the biggest storylines and takeaways from week three good, of 1985. And yes, I do it every time. But again, I know it's not actually week three of 1985 in the extended universe. We're going to cover all the episodes from the 5th of the 3rd of 1985 to the 7th of the 3rd, 1985. Now, just to give a brief preference, I will do this gesture. I'm not going to do the full gesture, but there will be some ideologies of this group from years ago because this aired in the 80s. So if you don't like that, you'd have to watch this episode just to make that clear because there's going to be a
I
heavy
don't know how
top.
that gesture's better. Like,
Yeah, well, I'm not doing the full gesture. I'm just doing the little.
I don't know how that's better. Like,
That'd be fine. But, if you don't, basically,
I'll say my piece for that. I don't know if that's much better, but fine.
yeah, well, anyways, if you hopefully from that gesture you got what you got, but just if you're still a bit confused, there's going to be certain memorabilia mentioned later in the episode, some World War II memorabilia, and not of the Allies. Jesus, my camera just freaked out for a second. I'm not the Allies of a different group, and it's not Japan either. It's a different group. So yeah. Anyway, so we have three topics. We have Mary the Punk arrives, the Golden Circle, and then World War II memorabilia. And then yeah, thoughts, awards, member comments slash reactions to week two.
Alternate title: Skipgate.
Skipgate, yeah. There we go.
Yep, Skipgate. There we go.
We found it, folks. Reactions to week two, like comments from it from members, and then the member shout outs, and then obviously I have the awards at the bottom. Let me just very quickly change that to week two. And there we go. So I'll get straight into it, shall I? Unless you have anything else
Yep.
to say? No? No, alright.
No.
So it's Mary the Punk arrives. So Ragecox, right?
There
Ragecox
we go. Got there in the end.
so Ragecox is dead. Don't know if you knew this, but he is dead. And with him being dead and no longer in the flat, things move fast. He's gone, so we've got someone new moving in.
I mean, it's social housing, so
Yeah.
like it is social housing. So, oh, free spot. Well, somebody needs it. Get them in. Get them in.
Uh, which is funny because you wouldn't see that in modern EastEnders. Fuck, Elaine's dead. Quick, move someone into the boutique hotel. Go on, go on. But they've moved Mary in. Um, what I love,
Marry the punk.
sorry,
I just said marry the punk.
yeah. I don't know why. Is there an update? I'll very quickly check see if there's an update. No, there's not. Okay, now it's
To be
just
fair, I just can just cancel an upload. Be fine.
no, it's
Should be
fine. It's
better.
probably my end, so it's fine.
No, it should be mine.
But anyways, yeah. So sorry for that little brief interlude, folks. But Mary the Punk has arrived, and with that, one of my favorite scenes that I'm very quickly just going to mention. She moves into the flat, but obviously the social housing person didn't tell her about who lived there previously, which is fair enough because if you're moving into a dead person's house, you don't really
I
want to
mean, you
say,
never want to know.
yeah,
Like, oh, you move in. Oh, a dead guy sat there for a couple of days before he died. Basically, died in the house, didn't he? Fucking hell, cheers, mate.
that, yeah, it would be
Thanks for telling me
very
that.
weird.
I'm glad I know where my family home is. Now I have to sleep like steps away from where a guy probably, well, he didn't technically die in the chair, but he basically was.
Yeah, which is fair enough. Now let us know down below. Would you stay in a house? No, no, no. You have to keep in mind he's only been dead for about 3 weeks. Would you move into someone's house after they immediately died? That's the real question.
But
So yeah,
I
uh,
mean, Mary the Punk is distinctly different, right? She has fucking wild, massive hair. She wears honestly eyeliner that fits in, like eyeshadow that fucking fits in now. very like very loud, very kind of just big, just very big, very bold like eyeshadow and eyeliner. And she arrives with baby Annie in tow. And yeah, the one thing I always find interesting about Mary is the fact that she's a northerner who has ran away from home because she had a baby, and she doesn't really want to. Well, as far as we know now, obviously she'll get into it as it goes on, but she ran away from home because they didn't want the family to they she didn't want the family to like deal with it or like try to take baby Annie away. She's content with it, even if she's kind of living in squalor conditions. Like, I mean, let's be honest, Reg's flat is fucking mold everywhere. It's barely livable. It wouldn't pass like checks these days, so it's fucking. It's not exactly the nicest place to live. And she's living above Ali and Sue and baby Hassan, so it's fucking bit of a nightmare. Obviously, Mary lets baby Annie cry a little bit too much, which tilts everyone. Shut up. Stop that baby fucking crying, please. But she doesn't actually do much this week. She basically just she's quite standoffish with all the neighbours. She doesn't really make friends quite easy. Naima tries to like oh, is the baby alright? And then tries to like I don't know, like hold. I was gonna say hold a hand out like you're trying to like whisk a fucking cat. It's like, yeah, come here,
I was
cat.
trying to do that, basically,
But
just kind of.
yeah, but like the babies, but Mary just like, fuck off. And
I
even I say even Sue, but Mary just seems to like. I don't know if she's supposed to be a bit dim or she's like intentionally trying to set up scenarios where she just gets to chat with Hallie because she takes off the key that she needs to get into the house and then she waits outside with Annie. But I think if there's one thing that's just overriding about Mary is that she's a very kind of jumpy mother. She's not really fully equipped. She doesn't really know how it works, and like even the slight hint of something wrong, she's like, "Ali, my baby's dying." It's like, well, he's not dying, is he though? And then it's like, "I'll go speak to Doctor Leg, it'll be fine." And Doctor Leg's like, "It's just phlegm. It's just fucking phlegm. Like, your baby's fine, Mary." But yeah, it's I like Mary. I think she's a pretty dark character, in the sense of it, like throughout. But I like Mary. I like the introduction, but I feel like her introduction coincides with a bit more of a grittier edge that starts to form because this version of London it's not exactly the one you see in 2026. You know what I mean? It's a bit grim. People are doing some not so savory things, as we'll get into. So yeah, what are your first impressions of Mary?
um I like Mary the Punk. I think she's a great character in a sense. I do love Neymar trying to touch the baby, but obviously Mary doesn't want anyone touching the baby. But it is funny because Neymar's, could you get your filthy hands away, Neymar. You run a minute, Martin. Fuck off. And obviously Sue, who works in the kitchen, is like, "Oh, hello, baby," doing that kind of thing. If I did that to a baby, they'd probably shit themselves. If I'm being honest. Um, there is an image of me hold. There is an image of me holding a baby, but it's so funny because I look so
Don't
scared.
know who let that happen.
don't ask why my cousin let me hold their baby. I don't know. But the problem, sorry, no, the problem I have with holding the baby is I immediately go, "I'm gonna drop this. Please take it off my hands. I'm going to drop it, and I don't want to be responsible if they have brain damage. Please." That's just how I personally feel whenever I hold a baby. So I'm like, I'm gonna drop this.
I don't think I've ever actually had to hold a baby.
It
I am the baby of the family, so I never really had to hold a baby. So
just sorry, just imagining.
unless I was holding myself.
Sorry, I'm just imagining fucking you doing the Gene Snitsky where you boot the baby into the crowd. um, but holding a baby is fine. It's just you have that sort of feeling that you're gonna drop them because obviously It's a literal child. It's brand new out of the oven.
I mean, it's a very fragile little tiny human. So
Yeah, it's brand new out of the oven, fresh out of the oven, like a pizza. Um, but yeah, like I do like Mary. The child was being a bit annoying, but to be fair, the child's only
they
like,
are a child.
yeah, they are 3 months old. What do you expect? Um, um, Something else that I loved was just yeah, Mary talking to Ali as much as possible. Like she waits outside. Obviously, she can't get into the flat. She lost the keys, and then Ali's like, "Oh, I'll let you in. Come on." Lets her in, and then the following day, it's like, "Ali, my child's gonna die." No, he's not gonna die. She's not gonna die. She's going to be perfectly fine, and she was perfectly fine with the old baby. So yeah. What do you think?
I mean, I basically said all I need to say. Really, I like Mary. I'm interested to see how it develops. She has one of my favorite early scenes, early on in EastEnders that I fucking am really looking forward to. It is just some kind of throwaway joke, but it's fantastic.
And
It is fantastic, but well, it's not happened yet, and I'm not gonna spoil it.
but now we move on. Golden Circle. You were excited for the Golden Circle act.
Yep,
So what is the
I
goal?
love pyramid schemes.
It's not a pyramid scheme. What are you on about? It's not a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, it's a multi-level marketing scheme instead. It's different.
Yeah, exactly. I feel well. I haven't got this message yet, but I feel like kids, especially, were from times of school where obviously like social media is a thing. I feel like eventually we're both going to get messages by someone from our school being like, "Hey, it's not a pyramid scheme, but we are setting up a multi-billionaire network. Just need you to donate a few hundred quid." I feel like I'm inevitably waiting for that message where I get that. Like, "Hello, Piggy. It's not a pyramid scheme, but I need a few hundred quid. But you will get it back. It will be invested into the business." Unless you've got that message before. Um,
No,
but yes, this is a pyramid scheme. If you don't know, basically you have to donate 10 quid, and then it goes to the person at the top, doesn't it? You have to donate to that. Or you become the
yeah, I think it's the whole point of. I think the whole angle for the Golden Circle, and I could get this wrong, so I'm sure Luke will be in there like, fuck it. I did the research, boys. Thank you. Um, I think you have to get either 6 or 7 other people to sign up with you, and you each send a tenner. But but it has to be enough that it has to loop back to you, and that's when you'll get the money. But obviously, you're never getting the money. You're just sending some dickhead a tenner. Um, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. To in a sense, it is one of their first like social issues as such, but it's not really explored that much. You know what I mean? Like it's a very throwaway kind of silly thing where just a bunch of the idiots do it. What Lofty? Um,
so
oh, excuse me. Lofty Lou doesn't fucking when Ethel mentions it to Lou just kind of looks at her like she just farted, just like what the fuck are you even on about, you dumb bitch. Um, Lofty, Pauline, Ali, Sue, Kathy, and that's generally it. So it's not enough people to actually get the money back. So, but my favorite bit about this is the simple fact that Ethel gets Lofty to pay for hers because Ethel's no fucking fool. She's been on the con longer than anyone, so she ain't falling for no pyramid scheme bullshit.
yeah, that's basically the entire bit about the golden circle, the pyramid scheme. That it doesn't work so well. That's
Yeah.
that's literally it. I can't do a
Yeah,
40.
it's kind of disappointing, really. It's not even like we can fucking. Have you ever been involved in a pyramid scheme, Piggy? I'm like, what the fuck? How do we even take this? Like, yeah, it's interesting to see it depicted. Cool. Yeah, there you go.
So now, again, you can skip this topic if you want, because we're going to be talking about some Nazisms. So be prepared. Well, not really about the Nazi party, more so the memorabilia that they would have.
All it is that Reg Cox obviously had a bunch of World War II memorabilia, some medals that have swastikas on it.
Yes.
That's it. That's the whole point.
He was a big fan of World War II, but not the Allied side. Not the Allied side. Which is weird considering he's a British man and he would have nothing to gain.
Well, I'm sure he fought in the war, so yeah, I assume he got a bunch of medals for it,
Oh, fair enough.
like commemorating it.
Oh, fair enough.
It's the assumption.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah,
he was just
that is
collecting it
true
because
because
he
he would have
loved
been
to
around that age.
fucking like he just fought in the war. It's-
No, no, I'm
He's
more
not like
so
a secret
confused.
fucking neo-Nazi or anything. He just fought in the fucking war and got medals for it.
I just thought he was. I thought he was just a traitor to the UK army. I thought he was.
No,
I thought he was just a neo-Nazi.
he just fought in the fucking war.
Well, fair enough. So yes, he collected some memorabilia along the way. And Lofty is wearing this memorabilia. He's wearing
Proudly.
what did you say?
I said he's wearing it proudly.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Lofty's wearing one that looks like a Luftwaffe plane with a swastika.
Thank you, thank you. Obviously, Ash is very well versed in World War II memorabilia. Uh,
Very untrue.
obviously on the Allied side. But yeah, like the problem I have with Lofty wearing this medal is he does like considering he would have been at school 10 years roughly before this, so the 70s. You think like I understand all his opportunities done, but you think considering that would have been a key talking point in the 70s, they would have told him about like the medals. To me, at least, like it would have been a key thing. Like, does he not realize that that medal is not a good medal? I don't
I just
know.
think he's a bit of an idiot, really.
Fair enough. I just like because even if you're an idiot, I'd assume you'd know when not to wear that badge. You know. But then again, there is people on.
I think it's just being a bit dim, really. That's all this is. Lofty's just a bit of an idiot. Doesn't really think too much. She goes, "Oh, that's cool. Just gonna wear that."
Fair
And he
enough.
bought it for a fiver.
Fiverr's a good deal on the old market for that, I'd
Fucking
say.
dafty.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
where are where who's finding all this memorabilia? Well, it was Mark Fowler Jr. No, it's just Mark Fowler, just original Mark Fowler. It's Mark Fowler, and it seems like people have been digging in Tony Carpenter's skip, hence the name Skipgate.
yeah, so I'll just quickly run through it. So obviously, Lofty in one of the episodes is wearing this badge proudly, and then um, big old Rich comes in. Rich comes in, and he's like, "That badge, where did you get it?" And he just went, "Some young lad gave it to me. Spent a fiver," and he went, "Okay," and then he immediately sussed out it was Mark Fowler. He went around to Mark Fowler, and then Lou Beale just gives Mister Rich like a earful, like "fuck off."
Oh,
Don't,
fucking dressing down.
yeah,
Like, don't you fucking come to my house, you prick. Don't you even fucking bother. I'll end your fucking life, you twat. Don't
I'll
you ever
end your.
come into my house again, you fucking bitch.
We all love Lou Beale. Yeah, and
It's a person you need in your corner.
yeah, yeah, especially.
Like, because obviously Mark, what's he saying? Mark's saying nothing. He's a scared little boy essentially, and and so Lou just basically just talks him out of the house. It's like fucking get out of my fucking house. Because I mean, Walford in general don't really like the police. It's not even just the Beals. It's just don't really trust the police. Don't really want the police involved in anything. Just gets messy, doesn't it?
And on this, Jesus, sorry, my notes. And on this, there's also been a letter sent from the school, like detailing that Mark is in trouble, and obviously they're speculating, but then revealed,
And it's just that his grades are shit.
yeah, yeah. It's I will just put it out there. If you're looking at this Mark Fowler and then Todd Carthy's, is that his name?
Yeah,
Um,
Todd Carter, you.
if you're looking at like David Scarborough's like Mark Fowler and Todd Carty's, it's two completely different. The only way I can describe it for people who would know more is like compare original Peggy, so the original one before the recast, and then recast Peggy Mitchell.
Before
Like it's
Barbara Windsor.
there's something. Are you agreeing or is this just something?
No, I just said before Barbara Windsor,
Yeah, before Barbara
because
Windsor,
Barbara
and then
Windsor was the recast.
yeah, Barbara Windsor was the recast. Said yeah, like
Which is always the funny kind of elitist one. It's always the funny elitist thing people say, "Oh, I just hate recasts, they're just really bad." Barbara Windsor. Even Angie Watts was a fucking recast. How about that, dickheads? Have some of that.
but obviously David Scarsborough's life is from traumatic.
Oh, it's tragic as fuck,
It's
isn't it?
tragic, I should say, yeah. And I do recommend you check out the documentary on David Scarsborough. It's a fantastic, well, from what I've been told, it's a fantastic documentary. But go check it out, please. Um, but again, what I will say, and I know,
Yeah,
like,
it's just called My Brother David, I believe. It's really good. It's really good. EastEnders fan forever uploading it on YouTube. It's a documentary by his brother Simon, and he kind of goes through. He goes through David Scarborough and what happened, and all the aggro he had with the press, and not being able to be an active like regular on EastEnders anymore after the initial departure. It's really good, and it's a really important story because yeah, David Scarborough had a fucking tragic life, and he died way too early.
and like what I want, like what I will give props to David Scarborough, and what I will say about him, because I never will be negative about this Mark Fowler, because again, the actor who plays him, it's fucking tragic. He went too soon, and like I will, it just again proves that the press slash the paparazzi are pricks for what they did.
Yes,
They did hound them. But
absolutely, just hounded like a still a teenager.
yeah, like fuck.
Found out like I think the most kind of alarming one was they the fact that he didn't section himself, but he took himself to like a mental health unit. And the press found out where the mental health unit is, so he had to leave. He's checked in for actual help, guys, for fuck's sake. Like, what's wrong with you?
But
But, it's the press, and to the press, they are just mutton.
yeah, but what I will say is, I generally he is a highlight. Is David Scarborough's like Mark Fowler? He's a highlight. I love both iterations of Mark Fowler, the original and then the recast. They're both fantastic. They're two completely different like personas entirely, but they play it equally great. And the best thing I love is like you can look at this Mark Fowler and then Todd Gardy's Mark Fowler, and you can address that yes, these are two different ones. But in actuality, you can look at it going, this is him as a teenager, and him as an adult, which is fantastic as well. Kind of, not in the same sense, but kind of the same sense for Martin Fowler. Obviously you have James Alexandro and then James Boy, so it's kind of the same in a sense. But yeah, the highlight of this is Mark because he's young. He's being groomed by Nick Cotton. If you don't know, Nick Cotton is a far right grifter at this point. He is
I
aligning
mean,
with
he's not necessarily a grifter. He does believe it.
no, yeah, but just the YouTube fight, he does believe this. But yeah, he is basically he agrees with the
Like, yeah, but
ideology.
he's not making any money out of it, is he? Like,
No,
he's
um,
just a part of a fucking fascist group.
he's a part of a fascist group, and obviously he's recruiting Mark Fowler. Now, obviously, I need to address this very quickly. This storyline gets cut short. Just to, oh my god, turn on the light.
Yes.
I was like, what? I was like, what was that beam of light? But obviously, Mark Fowler's storyline gets cut short because, and I'm just going to like say it, and I'll mention again when he leaves. But if you don't know, he was told to be racist towards Kelvin, I believe was his name.
Yeah, he had to do David Scarborough had to do a scene where he would racially abuse Calvin Carpenter, Tony's son, and David went, "Nah, not doing that, not fucking doing it." Which the one thing you do find really interesting is I'm pretty sure in the same documentary of my brother David, the Calvin Carpenter's actor, I don't remember his name, does just go, "Yeah, fucking." Well, obviously, I'm paraphrasing with swear words. Essentially, goes, "Yeah, it was really brave of someone to like risk their job to go on a limb and say I'm not going to do this." And I believe he said he was always kind of touched by it because, especially in those days, it was kind of I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't have thought twice. You know what I mean? So it was kind of, it was refreshing of him to essentially put his job on the line and say, "No, I don't want to do this, and I'm not going to do this."
And what you have to realize is with any other executive producer, when you bite back, they will bite back and say, "All right, I agree, we will keep you," unless obviously you're Ronnie or Roxy, which then in that case you're being sacked and you're getting written off. But obviously, 1985, completely different to Julia Smith, especially Julia Smith, not Tony Holland. From what I know about Julia Smith, was a bit of a control freak and did not like that.
Yes,
And she went, "Okay, Mark,
yes,
you don't work for us then. Get fucked, mate. You're in the bin." And obviously he went, "All right, fine. I'll leave then."
yeah, and it was the kind of sad things where he would keep cropping up occasionally. He would crop up through occasion through '96. Um, and I don't remember if he came around. I think his last appearance was Christmas Day '96.
86.
Where, oh yeah, 86 rather. Like he crops up occasionally throughout like the next 1 or 2 years, and he obviously susses out that Michelle's baby daddy is a certain dirty old man. But I think that's the last appearance, and he was always kind of open with the fact that he had really hoped that if if these short term stints go well, maybe I can come back fully, but Julia and Tony just never really bit back, which was the unfortunate truth about it. But yeah, it's a real kind of pivot point of early EastEnders because after Mark, and don't know why we're talking about this now because Mark, I don't think he's here for too much longer. But still, it has ramifications throughout the whole show because Mark was always the older teenager, right? He was the older, more adult one. I mean, as we mentioned, Nick is grooming him to become a part of like a far right movement. They're not giving that to Michelle or Ian or Sharon. They're giving it to Mark because he's the more adult one. So they wanted a younger character who was still an adult, so they could still do the darker teen storylines with, and therefore Michelle, Ian, Calvin, and Sharon. I don't know if Sharon was well, but they all received a whole lot more storylines than they were going to get, and that kind of. I mean, for me, I think it fully raised the stock of Michelle Fowler. It really she flies high with all of the actual material that she's given, and yeah, it's all just a kind of weird pivot point where at the end of the day David Scarborough bit back at Julia Smith, and she went fuck off. And yeah, the rest is unfortunate history.
Yep, and which, if you want another example of another person who doesn't stick around too long, is old Nick Cotton, because
Yeah,
Julia went, I just want to bust out my Trump impression. She just went, "You're gay." And he went, "No, I'm not." "Okay, then, you're gone." Because he was supposed to be in love with Lofty, and he did not like that, and neither did Lofty. And she went, "Okay, you're
yeah,
gone,
they both
Nick."
essentially went, yeah, maybe it doesn't really fit in with the whole character we're trying to portray. And she went, you're gone.
The, I
So
just, I
that
just,
is the that is the interpretation really. That's just how it worked with Julia Smith. Like Julia always gets all of the kind of she always gets all of the grief for these decisions, but it's just characteristically she is described as something of a control freak, and you don't go against it. So
you know what she reminds me of? She's the real life Lou Beale. That's what she is. The real life Lou Beale and Pauline. That's what she is. But yeah, so continuing on with this storyline very quickly. So yeah, Mark obviously is the Mr. Rich goes, "Hey, what are you doing selling memorabilia there, lad?" And he's like, "Don't naff off," as he would say. And then in the following episode, Lofty basically goes, "Give me that £5 back," and he goes, "No." Lofty kind of just does that. I need to move my hand, move, kind of just stalks him like that, and fucking steals the fiver. He's a teenager. Don't put your hands on him. Um,
rookie mistake as well. He kept the fiver in the same pocket. Got to swap it up.
Gotta put it in your shoe at least.
Exactly.
Go take off the shoe. Ugh, ugh, it smells. Ugh.
And then you have Nick and Lofty going back and forth, and Nick's like, "I'm not paying for this drink. You're paying for it." Fucking some. I think he calls him Nazi boy. because he's wearing the German medals, and
See,
then essentially goes "fuck you," and then I obviously made the joke because, as we said, Nick and Lofty were apparently supposed to get together, but they both shot it down. I just kind of, it, just to me, and this could just be, I mean, someone a bit less liberal, be like fucking walk. But I just read it as really homoerotic between Nick and anyone. Like, I don't know, it's the tight jeans, the the whole look. It's just very homoerotic, and obviously made the joke where it's like, Lofty, come get that fiver. It's in my front pocket, Lofty.
go.
There's also one in my back pocket. Feel free to squeeze it on the way out. Just have a big feel around back there, like fucking. I don't know. I'm just see if I start using Wattpad and I just suddenly have some boys love. It's look, all the signs were there. That's all I'm saying. But any scene with Nick Cotton is incredibly homoerotic. It's great. I love it, but I don't think it's how it's supposed to be played.
But if the room, right, because obviously we're going off if the rumor is true. If the rumor is true, you can very clearly tell he was supposed to be gay. It's not explicitly said,
Yeah,
but
but
the
I
way he
don't think they'd written it that way though. I think that's just our interpretation.
probably, but like it's just the way he's dressed, the way he acts. Like he's just pay for it. No, you will pay for it. Ugh. Spit on me, Nick. Spit on me. Ugh. Who's a bad boy? I am, Nick. I am. Lofty probably, but yeah, Lofty does pay for it. What a bitch. You know what I really wanted to see in this episode, and I also will mention Lou Beale going back to in a minute. But you know what I really wanted to see in this? You know when, Nick is like going, "You pay for it, Lofty. You pay it," and he's like, "It's 78p. Pay it, Nick. Pay it." You know what I really wanted to see at? He just Lofty just turns to the side, and goes, "Dan, Dan, can you come down, Dan, Dan, Dan? I need your help, Dan. I'm scared, Dan." I don't know why that's funny to me. Just him turning his head. Angie, he's being mean. Angie, please, someone else. Kathy, no one's helping me. Ah, but yeah. And then later on, Tony's skip gets basically ransacked because everybody's been throwing their shite into it basically. Um, and they find the memorabilia in there, and then the Inspector Rich is, just to put it lightly, racially profiling bloody Tony Carpenter.
Yes.
There is
And I said this as well because they're turfing out his skip. He's been working for days doing that. And like, are they gonna put it all back? Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. They're just gonna leave it there. And Detective Rich is just like, oh, do you often traffic Nazi memorabilia? Do you? It's like, well, it's not fucking mine. And obviously Tony gets righteously angry because it's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm doing an honest day's work. Like everything's above board. I'm paying my employees properly. Maybe not Nick, but I'm paying them all properly. Why the fuck? Why am I getting racially profiled? He's doing an honest living. But Rich does not really. He doesn't care. He just doesn't care. But they need a suspect, and he's decided that Tony is a suspect, despite Tony not even being here when Reg Cox was dead. So
why am I a suspect? I can't deliberately tell you, but
but
he's just
yeah, they're just playing mind games, really. But Tony is absolutely being racially profiled.
he
It's fucking
he
outrageous.
he is he Detective Rich is your granddad or granny at the table on Christmas Day, being like, bloody hell, you know what I don't like? I don't like those new ads they're showing. That new Kelvin Klein ad. There's just something wrong about the ad. It's because there's a black woman promoting jeans. I'm not saying so, son, but he's just doing your grand basically. Hmm. But yes, he does get racially profiled, and
Not saying I have a problem with the black community. But isn't it suspicious that all of this Nazi stuff ended up in his skip, isn't it? It's like, fucking alright. Not
and
really,
like,
though. Anybody can chuck stuff in a skip.
and also just to bring like some history into this, Nazis weren't really fond of black people. Like, I know we all talk about the
No.
fact that they killed the Jews, but they did also kill gays and travelers, like gypsies technically is the term, and like black people. So like, would be very weird for for Tony to be like, yeah, my people were oppressed by the Nazis, but I'm just selling it. No, it'd be very weird in my opinion. Just to kind of laugh at it, but not laugh at it because it is serious. But yes, so yeah, and then basically Mark gets a earful from Pauline and Arthur, and he goes outside, and Michelle tries to talk to him, but he just says nah, fuck off, and then he goes into the laundrette, and Nick offers him a cigarette, and they talk, and very quickly, just to mention it, Lou Beale is going to Clacton for
Well,
Michelle.
the funny bit about Mark is just a simple fact that Nick asks him like, "Oh, you know, what about school?" And Mark essentially says, "Fuck school," and then Nick says, "Good boy," and lights his smoke.
Um, but yeah, then also on it, yeah, Lou is going to Clacton. But my favourite bit is no one told Michelle. So Michelle's like, I've got to spend my Easter holidays with fucking Lou Beale. What are you on about?
In
But
a shit seaside town.
home of Mr. Farage, God. But yes, so that is the entire roundup of this week's EastEnders. Honestly, pretty good. Now it's time. Unless you have anything on Lou Beale, but
No, I just love Lou Beale, really. I'll continue to push Lou Beale. I absolutely adore her. I fucking love the character. And I just I like how because basically she lets Arthur and Michelle think that they've gotten the hand up, but she's scheming as well. Where she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna let them believe, but I'm not even going on this fucking holiday." So she's given them a bit of like leniency, but she fully knows that she's trying to screw them over in the end, which is the best bit.
and now it's time for the thoughts and awards. Thoughts and awards. Um, so I'll go first. Even though the storyline is going to get cut short, I'm excited to see this Nick and Mark partnership, despite Dave Scarsborough rightfully so putting his foot down and going, Julia Smith, I'm not doing it. Fuck off. And her going, well, you're out. Despite that, I am looking forward to seeing the future. I'm going to cherish every scene Mark is in because, again, if we do end up going up to the 90s, it's going to be drastically different when we see leather jacket wearing uh, Mark with a motorcycle. It's going to be drastically different. But I do love this. I do love seeing like this kind of iteration of EastEnders, like this kind of London. Because I don't really know if a storyline like this about Nazi memorabilia would sell nowadays or be really work nowadays. Like it's very of the
I
time.
mean, it would be tonally very, very bizarre. Like, if anybody even like was just walking around like Lofty is, just happily broadcasting it, they would get some absolutely like, uh, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like, and it's. I mean, it's the people's favorite adage. Never really wrong to punch one, is it?
No,
Never really wrong to punch one. So
yeah,
you can fill in the gaps.
yeah. Um, we're not saying you don't have to do it, but we encourage that you do it. So, what do you think of this week? What's your thought?
Um, Yeah, it's a good week. Enjoyed it. Once again, it's the way I describe early EastEnders, and I'll continue to describe it this way. It is simply just humble. It is very humble, and yeah, sure, well, you're not getting the most like surreal action every single time, but fundamentally, it's just it's very it's very it's very earthly. It's very down to earth, and that to me kind of makes it all the more palatable because if we were just going, I mean, it's why when we did the Who Done It podcast, it just didn't work because we were basically watching the same sort of shit that we would see in 2020. Well, when we did it, it would be 2023. But we'd just be seeing the same shit we'd be watching. It would just be 10 years earlier. So, but the difference with this and classic EastEnders, it's just distinctly different, and that's a charm that's kind of just great in itself.
Yeah.
Um, Most promising. Did I need to do this now? Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, I will do the awards for you. So the awards we have are the Julie, whatever you want to call her, Antonia Award, the Sue Osborne Award, underrated, and who needs slapping down. So yeah, you want to go first?
We always start with most promising. I don't remember what we call this one. The Julia and Tony. Most promising. Nice to just see. I mean, I'm just gonna give it to Lou Beale again. I want to. I fucking hope we get the confrontation where Arthur and Pauline are like, yeah, we've tricked Lou into going on holiday, and Lou's like, I'm not fucking going. And then in the end, she does go. But I'm in. I'm in. Take me there. If this is 2026 and we could get mini series, I would pay good money to see Michelle and Lou in Clacton.
Give me Lou Beale in a bikini. Go on. Anna Wing's a fantastic woman, I will say. Yeah, again, my Julian Tony Award is going to obviously Mark Fowler. He is promising. It's a sad state of affairs what happens in the future, but obviously the guy who just played David Advocate, we don't really know the future, do we? Ooh. But yes, I am looking forward to see where the character goes and to see it. The Sue Osborne Award, which is the most wooden on the modern podcast, is called the Anthony Truman Award. So on this one, it's called the Sue Osborne. It could either be the Saeed Award as well, depending what you call it. I call it the Sue Osborne. Ash calls it the Saeed Award. It's the same award. Um, who's the most wooden for me? It has to be the scene where Nick's like, "I'm not paying for this point. You fucking pay for it." And off he's like, "No, go on, pay for it, bitch. Fine, I guess I will." Like he stole the fiver from Mark, and that fiver Nick steals from him. He is doing the golden circle. He is doing it. But what's yours?
um. Oh, most wooden for me. Just Terry Rich's Detective Inspector Rich's fucking morals. Stop racially profiling Tony, you dick.
Yeah. Underrated. Who is underrated for you? Unless you want me to go first.
See, I want to give it to Lou and Ethel every week because I know that they're going to vanish at some point, but I can't. I can't just keep on. I'm going to give it to Michelle for taking it like a fucking champion. What, you have to take your nan on a holiday to Clacton? Fuck off. Ah, yeah, fine, I'll do it. Like, she is the unsung hero of the Fowlers and the Beals.
Yeah. Oh my God, who am I giving it to? I'm giving it to Mary. I'm gonna give it to Mary the punk. And then who needs slapping down? Detective Rich for racially profiling Big Man Tone.
I mean, I'm also just going to give it to Lofty for just fucking wearing just wearing a swastika proudly on his chest. Like, read the fucking room, mate. Like, a bunch of these people seeing it literally lived through the war. So have some fucking respect.
it's it's just the fact it's like a fucking it's like we're going to a Halloween party. Don't dress up as anything controversial. What are you wearing? It just what? I'm just dressed like the people from Wolfenstein. What are you on about? You do realize what Wolfenstein means or stands for, just like that. I believe the first game. No, the first game doesn't come out till the 90s or the late 80s at some point. But yeah, there we go. Piggy knows gaming. So now it is time for, and let me just very quickly pull this tab up in a second. It is now time for memberships and comments. Membership like comments and reactions to week 2. Now, how I start is I do the reactions to week 2, and then I basically will read it out to Ash. Um, we'll read it out to Ash, and Ash will talk about it. Is that not showing? That's not showing.
Mhm.
Hold on. Give me a second. There we go. I might have to put on the other Brave one. Hold on. There we go. Now, the first comment is by SD Cricket Fan, and yes, we have loyal commenter Luke the Hoovian who left most of these comments. So please don't mind. Thank you, Luke. We will to read them out, and if you comment on these videos, we will shout you out. I will shout out the one person that commented on the reaction from the previous week, but I will do that at the end because members get first dibs. So SD Cricket Fan says here, justice for Angie. Yes, we all agree.
Uh,
So Luke's first comment here says the intro really worried me. I thought I clicked on a dodgy. Thank God it was just Ash. Yeah, that's when you did the tea sipping. If you want to do the tea sipping noise again, you can.
oh, did I do it? I thought I just had a dodgy edit.
No, I took the clip of you sipping tea when someone did it, when Dr. Leg did it, and you fucking took this down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um,
Obviously, I don't know ball. I didn't watch the
he
reactions.
doesn't have to.
I was a part of them.
Yeah. So Luke's second comment is, I looked into the black economy. That
All
is
right.
that is a fucking
Now,
mental.
for context, of course, this is what Nick said when Tony and Arthur were talking about how they were going to get paid, and essentially Nick made the not racist comment, racist comment saying, "Ah, well, you know the black economy, Arthur," essentially suggesting it's not above board; it's probably all cash in hand.
And they say, I looked into the black economy, and it is, as we'd probably expect, any economic activity that falls outside a country's official rules and regulations regarding commerce. These activities are typically unreported in order to avoid taxation. Basically, what the rich do. It doesn't just mean purely illegal criminal activity. It also includes things like being paid cash in hand for work or services to avoid declaring earnings or paying tax. Traditionally, it referred mostly to cash-based transactions, but in more recent
Essentially,
times,
fiddling the books, because cash
yeah,
isn't traceable,
yeah,
but actual like transfers are. So,
cryptocurrency. But in more recent times, cryptocurrency has become a preferred method. Essentially, it covers anything illegal, unreported, on record, or informal. I also looked into how
fair
serious
enough.
this issue was for the UK government in 1985. At the time, it was estimated that the black economy accounted for to the 16% of GDP in monetary terms. That equated to roughly 15 billion per year,
Fucking hell.
with the
Fair enough.
standard tax rate sitting at around
We've got our own researcher in the corner. Fuck it. Hold on, boys.
um with the standard tax rate sitting at around 30% at the time. That translated to an estimate 4 to 5 billion in lost annual tax revenue. Thatcher's not getting it. Margaret Thatcher, who was Prime Minister at the time, saw this as a drain on the Esquire and a source of unfair competition. Esquire, I'm assuming, basically on the economy, I'd assume.
See, I
Uh,
would, I would say, but I also can't find the comments that you're reading. So
it's
there
on
we go.
Chipgate, it's on the reactions.
Oh, it's on the reactions. Okay, sound.
I'm doing the reactions first, and then I go on to the actual video. Uh,
Okay.
uh, and then continuing on, let me just go to the. Yeah, okay, let me just do this. Do. And then continuing on. Also, the standout bits for me in this episode were Ethel and the Vic when Angie tells her to wait outside and tell Den to take the whiskey round the back. So she waits, sees him, pulls up, speaks to him, and then just lets him walk straight into the pub to Mr. Chumley, forcing Angie to quickly make up the party. Excuse on the spot is just so funny to me. Um, and Lou Beale is such a bitch to people in these episodes, and yet everyone in the pub, when she just walks in and shouts, "I did it! I won the bingo!" Like it's suddenly going to please everyone. She's just pissed off. It's peak zero self awareness meets maximum confidence energy.
I mean,
Uh,
I feel like, and maybe this is going to be slightly controversial to say. I feel like once you reach a certain age, fucking hell, let me say that again. I feel like once you reach a certain age, I feel like you are just allowed to just say, fuck it, I don't care anymore. Like,
um,
we always take the piss out of all the, like, slightly older people who will just give every single horrendous opinion they have. But at some point, you do just get to dump all that shit aside and just say, fuck you, I don't care. Here's some horrendously awful shit that I've been cooking up. And I feel like a lot, you reach a certain age, you're allowed, you've lived through a lot. Like Lou Bill, she's lived through 2 fucking wars. Like, wait, maybe not 2, probably just the one. But, she's lived through a war. She can say whatever the fuck she wants. But it's just fantastic. It's like, yeah, I've fucking won. Yeah, great, Lou. Cheers. Fuck off. I'm going home now. Oh, I just love her.
Ali with his reaction to Sue thinking he's been cheating is so hilarious to me because he then admits he's been gambling, actually won, and then just piss her off even more. He tells her, "I was going to give it to you, now I'm going to put it on a whore."
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's fucking it's quintessentially British, right? It's just like, ah, were you cheating on me? No, I was gambling, you fucking bitch. Like fucking yeah, as if that's much better. Both
Uh,
of it takes food off our table.
Continuing on, Luke also says, "I'd love to see how Lou would react if she could see her family alive and well on the square today, especially Ian, who was always her favourite. I honestly think she'd tear him to shreds and give him the telling off of a lifetime."
Yeah, maybe, but I think Ian would like get his way out of it. I think Ian knows the right buttons to push with Lou.
Um, Saeed is the only character I truly dislike in this cast so far. This was by Luke. Because he does absolutely nothing and feels completely useless. I really feel for Neymar, as she has some spark and hope about her. Yet she's saddled with someone who's about as much use as an ashtray on a motorcycle. He
It's a good one.
strikes me as the kind of person, if it were raining soup, he would run around trying to catch it with a fork.
Ah, fucking hell!
Um,
Absolute beauty. What a I'm stealing that one. That one's mine now.
uh,
Fucking oh, tremendous. Like that fucking Oasis line, isn't it? The fucking a man with a fork in a world full of soup. What do you even do? Like, it's just
um,
tremendous.
so they have some good pun names they know of. Are you ready for these, Ash?
Yep.
Just in case. So just in
Yeah,
case.
classic
Uh,
one.
Drew Peacock. Drew Peacock.
Yep, we know
Uh,
that. It's been used.
Crispy Bacon. Crispy Bacon. Um,
Yeah, do love it. I've actually seen someone with that name before, to be fair.
was it a pig?
You, don't look a gift pig in the mouth.
Anita Bat. Oh, Anita Bat.
Not bad.
Bend over. Bend over. Oh.
The old classic.
Just in time. Just in time. Hugh Janus. Janus. Philip Bucket. Philip Bucket. Uh,
Fill up the bucket.
Robin Banks.
Nice.
Teresa Crowd.
Yeah, pretty good. I like that one, more subtle.
Salt and pepper. So salt and pepper.
Yeah,
Uh,
I like it.
is he coming? So is he coming?
I don't think he is.
Phil's Wood. But Phil's Wood?
Phyllis.
Phyllis Wood.
Phyllis Wood.
Ah, thank you. Uh, Wanker. Wanker. There we go. Wanker. Jacqueline Hyde.
Yeah, it's Jekyll and Hyde sound.
Anita Handjab.
I need a hand job, exactly.
Phil McCracken.
Yeah. Phil McCann. All of them. I do like the pun names. The pun names are always delicious. I mean, it's why drag's just fucking fantastic, because whatever pun you need, whatever innuendo you need, they're in. They're fucking in. It's absolutely tremendous. I do love them.
And then Luke
Yeah,
also
good pun
says,
names. Thank you, Luke.
and then they also say, another great watch and set of reactions. I've already watched it through twice. And just thumbs that up. Now there
About time for number 3.
do, and then uh Daniel, on the first week of Walford reactions, Daniel F45 LUFC says, "Great video, guys. You guys are amazing and have so much knowledge." Just shout them out. I'm just very quickly going to check to see if we did get any more comments on the first week of podcast. No, we did not. So I will just move swiftly on. And now this is the second podcast, which is for members. So this is when Dan and Angie's
Dang,
and then fucking Stone Cold's music. So
Family
this is
opera.
when Dan and Angie's marriage was on the rocks. I'm going to start with my. I need you to do the face. The. Oh,
Oh,
I'll pause. So yeah, I'm going to need you to do the new emoji face that we have of you staring when I read this comment out. So, um, my favorite takeaway from this podcast was the revelation that Den Watts' mother, Piggy, give me milk, mommy. So Ash, go on, do the face. There we go. There we go. And that was by ST Cricket Fan.
obviously, if you remember, you do get emotes, and I fucking love that emote. It's absolutely, it's great. It's great. We have me dancing as a banana. Got Piggy doing absolute cinema. Got
Uh,
some good emotes that you can get if you remember.
so, um, so Luke first starts off here. Luke did leave like fucking probably 10 comments. I want to say I don't mind. Just
A dissertation.
yeah. So
But look,
Luke.
at least someone's really enthused.
Yeah. So Luke first says, "Yes, just started this and can't wait. You guys are the best. I wish I had friends like you guys and
And
any friend."
also, equally, I will say, you pay for the fucking, you pay for the, you pay. You can leave as many fucking comments as you
Yeah,
want.
you can, you can.
He is supporting the channel directly, so thank you, Luke, once again.
He is putting us through college. Um. So he starts off here. Says, "Yes, just started this and can't wait. You guys are the best. I wish I had friends like you guys and any friends that at all would be great too.
Sound.
Legally, we have to say you are a friend because you do support the channel. So legally, you are a friend. Um." Don't hop on Dead by Daylight with me though, because I will just fix Jen and not save you if you get hooked. But yes, FYI, so for your information, just for Piggy's notes, yes, 1984 was a leap year. The first leap year in EastEnders is 1988, and 4 years after that. Also, on the Aldi and Lidl question, I looked it up. That while they were trading, then Aldi didn't come to the UK until April 1990, and Lidl followed in 1994. Thank you.
See, guess who knows true Aldi and Lidl law? Me.
Um, and then Luke also says, "I can't believe Piggy said that Tony looks like Trevor from Fireman Sam." And I must admit,
Fuck, he does a little bit.
when I first saw him, it reminded me of him too. Also, he was also he was the good shopkeeper who sold Charlie the chocolate bar that gets him the golden ticket and tells him to run home and stops people pestering him. Yeah. Um, just for Piggy to read my long comments and my thoughts. I'm so sorry, but I know it means the world to be a part of this, and I love you for reading out the comments, even when the words can be hard and blur together. Thank you. You're welcome. Now, do they have any other small comments? Or are they all long ones? Okay, they're all long ones. So I was just making sure. So, right, so here we go. So here we are, week 2 of 1985. Like week 1, it's a well paced and enjoyable couple of episodes where we see the characters introduced in week 1 build upon and becoming even more three dimensional as we see how they react to the news about Reg Cox and how it affects them to varying degrees. As Ash rightly pointed out in the previous classic podcast episode, Reg Cox is a non likable character for the residents of Albert Square. And because we have no previous episodes to get a gouge on Reg, we don't care anywhere near as much as we would in later whodunits. Yeah. Um.
Yeah, I mean it's exactly it, right? I mean it's why, as you mentioned, I think Luke left a comment in the previous one for us to talk about, saying about how do you think the Reg Cox who done it is really kind of worth it or it lands? And the simple matter of fact is it peters out because nobody actually cares. It was a good ticket to get people invested, but equally we didn't know the character, so we don't really care if we find out who killed him. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those just one of those 50-50 kind of fucking deals. I just got flashed.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. He's gonna have nightmares. He's gonna have nightmares. Thankfully, the camera wasn't on me, so the members didn't get that. But if you want,
the,
if
the dignity is still there.
but if you want to get access to it, you just have to watch Ash when Ash uploads the podcast. There you go. But I will continue on, and I'm sorry for flashing you, Ash. But well, good. I hope. I still think the hook of it works because whodunits are some of the most popular story formats in history, not just in soap, but in TV, film, and books too. Ever, sorry about that. However, I do find the investigation into Reg's death very half-hearted, with one fairly useless detective investigating. He doesn't seem particularly invested, and if Nick wasn't so unlikable and obvious, I'm not convinced the police would have caught anyone.
Yeah, it's just funny, isn't it? That's
Um,
just the whole point. Like Detective Rich, he's doing it in contempt. He doesn't give a fuck, does he? He's not like, I need to catch the killer. He's just like, it's probably just Tony, isn't it? That's all he does.
His treatment of Tony is a stark reminder of how far society has come, while sadly also reminding us that some people still carry the mindset of Nick Cotton. Tony, as you rightly said, is a happy-go-lucky chap and seems pretty well liked by almost everyone on the square. As I pointed out, there is a lot of people who still hold the values of good old Detective Rich and Nick Cotton, mostly in America and currently in the UK with reform. And we don't indulge those people. We think those people are fucking idiots because I don't know how you can hate. I don't know how, just to make this kind of political, but not really. I don't know how you can stand there and go, I fucking hate when foreigners come in this country, and then you go, but does anyone fancy a kebab or a curry? You know, it's the kind of thing where you look like an idiot. You look. It just reminds me of the fucking Peter Griffin clip, where he's obviously the clown, and then the rest of the people are dressed up in military, and he's like, they won't suspect me. He's like, they will suspect you because you are the idiot because you're dressed as a clown. But yeah, it's just it shows how far society has come, and how sadly most of society, although has moved on, some of this society still want to hold on to these values they look at 40 years ago. Because you think 40
I mean,
years,
it's a time-honored tale of the government essentially pointing, what's the biggest problem? Is it our government? Are we doing things bad? No, no, no. It's whatever the fuck is easy to hate,
yeah,
and that's just that is just populism, really. I mean,
it's
it's how in this day and age Farage has gotten so far. So it's just you jump on an issue that's a hot button issue, and then that becomes a huge topic issue for a good chunk of time. And then when they don't need it anymore, they will likely discard it. But for now,
it's
it will
it
pretty much continue to pay dividends.
it is basically the Lois Griffin clip from Family Guy where she's running for politician and she's like, I'm not winning the people over. So how do I win these American people over? 9/11. Yeah, it's basically that where it's just like Nigel Farage. Oh, I'm not winning the people over. Immigrants are bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Farage, we love you. You know, fucking that's being clipped, but yeah, just how people are really. Um,
I do enjoy how, as this channel has gone on, it's just like Piggy will give his staunch political opinion. I'm just kind of sat there like, yeah.
you, you
I
you more.
I don't feel the need to have to try justify my own personal
No,
belief
it's
at
fair
this
enough.
point.
I just
I
want to
just
make it
fucking
publicly known that I do find these people in
I
chat.
just fucking you can generally assume from my demeanor and my views, you probably judge what sort of person I am. So I don't really feel the need to just fucking be like, yeah, fuck this demographic of people. Like, it's just
Yeah,
kind of
no,
funny
it
how as
is
it's
just
gone
funny
on, it's
though.
like I've got all that shit to prove. But at this point, it's just like I just want to get through the day. I just want to get through the day, please.
But yeah, it's just on this. It does show how we have moved on from this, but also having at the same point because when you're not winning the votes, gotta beat up the minorities because that's how it works. Sadly, in politics, am I the issue? No. It's just the Principal Skinner fucking clip. Am I out of touch? No, it's the other people who are out of touch. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. But continuing on, the movie swift away from Farage and everything. We also have Lou giving Arthur and Pauline a hard time about the baby, and we see Arthur, Pauline, and Michelle doing their best to keep Lou happy. I love the quiet moment where Pauline and Arthur sit down, unburden themselves, and even laugh at the situation. It shows what a strong and loving relationship they have. While not perfect, they love, respect, and trust one another. It sets them apart from most of the other couples on the square. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Arthur and Pauline's relationship's just beautiful, really. Like, it's nothing extravagant. It's not the greatest love story ever told. It's just two people who are they're just getting through life together, and they wouldn't really want it any other way. It's you need those sort of relationships. They are the foundation. They are the bedrock essentially to a lot of the stuff. Like, I always say this, my favorite like old married couple in soap are Jack and Vera Duckworth in Coronation Street, because once again, they'll spend 90% of the time arguing and bickering, but in those rare moments where Vera's feeling a bit soppy and Jack finally caves in, he's just like, Vera, I do love you. And then Vera's like fucking you, it just gets that all like giddy feeling. It's like, yeah, yeah. I just, you need those really strong. It's why we always kind of complain about people splitting up long-term couples, because just if you think, let's say, I mean, obviously it's a long fucking time away, but let's say Peter and Lauren are basically together for the next 50 years. That's fucking 70 years of history, you know what I mean? Like, it's so much history, and it's so much of a dynamic that you can play on, and that's kind of why you try and keep these characters and keep these relationships going. Because if you don't, you just kind of run out and you go, oh, well, they did have a loved one, but they're dead now. They've not been seen together in 7 years, and it's like, well, it just doesn't really hit the same. Like, those old married couples are royalty. Whether, like, yeah, sure, they're not getting the biggest storylines, but just their presence and their dynamic is just feeding stories for fucking years.
yeah. Last week I made the connection. I'm on the right page. I am. Last week I made the connection between Pauline and Arthur and Den and Angie, but this week it struck me that there's another interesting parallel, whatever you want to say. Den and Angie versus Sue and Nellie. Are you ready for this? Um,
Yeah,
Both couples are far from perfect. Den and Angie are in a one-sided, fairly loveless marriage. Angie loves Den unwedded, while Den loves control, respect, and the image that he projects to the world. Yeah. Um, Sue
yeah,
and Ali, meanwhile, are volatile in different ways. Their marriage isn't loveless, there is respect, but there is no trust, much like Den and Angie. The key difference is that Angie knows Den has a mystery, yet Den gaslights her into doubting herself, driving her to drink and self-blame. Sue, however, doesn't have proof of infidelity. Her distrust of Ali's rooted in insecurity and the fear of losing him, and in many ways, that fear pushes him further away. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
No, it's pretty good. There's a pretty good parallel. I mean, it's a difference, right? Like, Ali and Sue are a lot more overt about their issues, but equally, you can just like, there is love between them. Like, they get under each other's skin, but some couples need that to actually like be passionate in a way, and that's as sweet and innocent as I'll make that sentence. The implications there, but fiery, feisty, constantly bickering. Some people love that shit. Some people can't live without it, and that's kind of them. So, yeah, it's interesting to me, honestly. I think it's a cool spot. I would never really would make the parallel myself, but
yeah. Um, in both cases, what holds the couple together is their child. So let's find out
yeah,
why.
exactly.
Sharon for Den and Angie, and Hassan for Sue and Ali. But even there, the dynamics differ. Angie's love for Sharon is pure and maternal, maternal, uh,
Maternal.
maternal. Sorry. Den's love, however,
Yeah.
is far more complicated and possessive. He thrives on control, and he exercises that control in a myriad of ways, particularly through manipulation and subtle point scoring with Sharon. That dynamic is arguably one of the reasons the Sharon we see today struggles with unhealthy relationships. Her emotional baseline was flawed, and her understanding of love was warped from the start.
Yeah, entirely. I mean, it's the old kind of time old adage that the relationship with your parents often shapes how you interact and deal with people. And fundamentally, Sharon doesn't really know what a truly loving relationship is, and often finds herself kind of having to not manufacture, but definitely try and find coping ways to, you know, adhere to other stuff, the inherent trust, the inherent belief. Whereas she was always kind of taught, oh well, you fuck up, just buy someone something, or like just it's that kind of weird thing where she doesn't really everything. She feels like most things come at a cost, and that's kind of where their relationship, and that's the influence of Den and Angie's relationship on Sharon.
Yep, and continuing on. Um, if you look closely, you can infer that Dan's feelings towards Sharon cross into uncomfortable territory. At times, he can be overprotective and make subtle but questionable comments about her. I suggest that this undercurrent helps explain one of the most iconic moments still to come, as his motivations are partly rooted in the fact that he truly can't have Sharon, so he seeks something similar elsewhere.
Yes, this one's always a weird one where the Sharon and Den relationship kind of it doesn't ever verge into the territory of getting a bit fucking weird, but how Den and Sharon kind of act is always a bit strange. Like it was like last week where fucking Den goes, "Oh, she's turned into a proper sort, isn't she?" It's your fucking daughter, mate. Like fucking hell. And then even in the kind of really, it's why Sharon getting with Dennis Rickman is so inherently interesting. Is because Den is fucking pissed because she's basically found Den, but younger and is a bit of a better person. Like, and that's where a lot of the kind of issues come from, where Den's like, what the fuck? You know, it's kind of like you're taking my princess away, but it's like, she isn't yours, isn't she, Den? Like, yeah, sure, you are her dad, but she's not, she's not indebted to you in that way. So that's always the kind of funny juxtaposition where it's like, I really it's just weird, but it's that grey area they never really verge into. But just judge Den's reaction when he finds out Sharon and uh,
Dennis.
Dennis are together. He is fucking livid.
Yeah. And continuing on. Next is the Lofty and Ethel dynamic. It's a sweet bond, but Lofty is definitely using Ethel, even if he doesn't fully realize it until Dr. Legg points it out. Ethel, while jolly and cheerful, is deeply vulnerable and lonely in a world that is moving beyond her. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of sad in a way to think about because imagine like if Ethel lived longer and she was living when people had like phones. Just, I feel like that stuff doesn't necessarily get talked about. Where there were a whole generation of people getting left behind, and like we still continue that now. It's just basically buck the fuck up and get along with some technology or just stay in ignorance. Really, it's kind of a sad. Like my nan, for example, she did not fuck with technology that much. She just used a phone like normal. Didn't even have a smartphone. Just used the home phone. Still wrote letters. Still did everything, kind of the old-fashioned way. And all the power to her. Fair play. Like if you don't want to do it, you just don't do it. I felt like Ethel would be one of those people. It's like, oh, just transfer it online. Online, fuck off.
it is. It is very sad to see in a world that moves on without you, but it's the sad reality that nothing stays the same forever. Like again, there could be just one day where I don't appear on Watching Walford and Matt's got a new co-host, and he starts a second channel that is more successful than this channel with that co-host. It's just it's just how the reality works. Is eventually it will happen to everyone, but everyone will get left behind. There will come a certain age where you realize, wait, Am I out of? Am I really out of touch? Just to do the Skinner line again. Am I really out of touch there? It's
I mean,
it used.
I just kind of argue the sad, the sad inherent, the sad inherent kind of thing where at some point us like soap fans or EastEnders fans will reach the point where it is actually dying and we have to kind of find a new place to go. Because at some point the show will end. It's not going to stay on forever. So at some point we will be the guys like in the. I mean, it's a really ridiculous comparison, but we'll be there in the fucking shelter, just like, please, please, just don't kill everything.
I, the quote that can be summed up for Ethel, like living in a world beyond her, is greatly said by Abe Simpson from The Simpsons to use The Simpsons again. Yes, but it's
Oh,
there's a there's a as
and I'm gonna quote the great philosopher
Abe,
Abe Simpson.
but 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 bear with me. He says in one of the so they obviously did a flashback episode of the '70s, and you kind of explore Abe's relationship with Homer. One of the lines he said, "I used to be with it, then they changed what it is, and that what it is seems scary to me, and it will happen to you too." And that perfectly sums up. So Ethel was with it, then it changed, so now she doesn't know what if is, and if has moved on
Yeah,
beyond her. So yeah, thank you, Abe Simpson. I get all my references from
true
The
philosopher.
Simpsons. Let's go. But just Ash being like, I speedrun the game. Don't fucking mention the game ever again. Please. I hear the music in my dreams like Vietnam gunshots. Okay. Um, but yeah, continuing on. I hope Lofty's attitude evolves over time, especially towards Ethel. She cleans and helps everyone, yet receives little affection or appreciation in return. She does it for purpose, to feel needed and stay connected. That is like it is extremely depressing, and what I will add on to this is yes, people do make fun of people for being lonely in life or never really finding the one. But Ethel did find the one. Yes, it is in Willie the Pug, but she did have a husband, but she never really had kids.
I mean, Willie is named after her husband. Like
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
that's the whole point, really. She, you know, she found the one. She lived a life, but she's old now, and I mean, it's just the depressing thing with getting old, where like, I feel like a lot of old people reach a point where they get to slightly later ages, and they just talk about death, just like it's the most natural thing ever. Yeah, I went to 3 funerals this week. It's like, fucking hell. So like, you just reach a general point where you are just resigned to it. Like, I feel like for most people, you don't even get scared of it anymore. You just go, yeah, fuck, it's probably time, isn't it? Like, I've lived a life. I've done everything I wanted to. Maybe there's a little bit regret, and maybe I'll think about how it could be different. But fundamentally, at that stage in life, you either are incredibly bitter or you're just ready to go.
I mean, it's the sad
It's
reality.
been weirdly existential, this one.
I mean, it's the sad reality because you have to realize, and I know like we can't really compare it because obviously we're in 20, so obviously in 60 years'
Yeah,
time, if we do live to be 60 and 70, like
good
we
luck with that.
can relate. Even though not to be mean, half your bloodline went at 50, so it's not looking good,
Yeah,
chief, for you.
no.
And most of my bloodline went by suicide, so who knows? Who knows?
Say la vie.
How did Ashes go? Don't worry about it. How did Piggy go? Don't worry about it. But like, it must be incredibly sad. What are we gonna say?
No, no, it's just laughing, just laughing.
But like, because it must be very sad to reach a certain point in like life where everyone you know has died before you, and you're the last one alive. Like your friend.
Oh
It,
yeah, it's really bleak. Like,
it,
I always take the piss about me being the baby of the family, but me being the baby of the family implies I'm gonna be the last one. And it's not like my family's breeding or anything. Once we're done, we're done. Like, that to me is fucking terrifying. But equally, ideally, that's not for a long time yet. But fuck me, is it a little bit terrifying? Where you go, yeah, I'm probably just gonna be the last one, and everybody I love's probably gonna be dead. So fucking hell, all right, that's enough of that. Let me just fucking play some fucking Flappy Bird on my phone to keep the existential dread away. Like fucking.
but like what I will want to say for Ethel, the reason why I do like look at Ethel with such like kindness and sweetness, like I don't know what that is, but
And
no,
this
like
is why this podcast will never end because it goes ridiculous fucking places.
but why I look at her so like nicely is because her only friend really is Lou Beale because everyone she
Yeah,
loves, well, Ethel and Dot,
and Dot,
but we
but we
don't,
haven't seen Dot yet.
yeah,
So
but like it must be extremely sad to like, because half her friends probably have died 20 years before. Her only friend is Lou and Dot, but obviously we don't know Dot yet, so it's Lou. So it's extremely sad to be in that kind of world where you're like, everyone I love is gone. I'm the only one
I mean, the
left.
world just moved on, and you're left behind.
Yeah, but I will continue on. If you don't mind. Finally, Lou Beale, while funny from an outside perspective, she would be a difficult person to love if she was your gran. She doubles down on her
Oh,
opposite.
absolutely. Fuck that. I would absolutely hate her if she was my nan. But it's the old like British kind of time where it's like if it's happening to you, it's miserable. But if it's happening to your mate, it's the funniest fucking thing ever.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, while funny from an outside perspective, she would be a difficult person to love if she was your gran. She doubles down on her opposition to the baby. While I understand from her practical concerns, she's blunt to the point of being hurtful and doesn't allow Pauline and Arthur to make the decision that's right for them. It's interesting to see to know her attitude subtly shifts over the year. The contrast between Lou and Ethel is fascinating. Best friends, yet so different. Ethel gives endlessly. Lou is stubborn and self-interested, yet has the one thing Ethel craves: family. She's surrounded by people who love her, even when she's difficult. It's sad and she doesn't always recognize how lucky she is. But regardless, I still love both Lou and Ethel. All in all,
I mean, it's why even in an episode coming up, there's a time where Ethel offers to babysit for Mary the Punk's kid, but she kidnaps the fucking kid and essentially says, "Oh, you didn't deserve it," and it uncovers this really sad underbelly that Lou always or Ethel always, yeah, Ethel kidnapped the baby. Ethel always wanted a family, but she never had one, and it's too late now. She's not getting that chance again. So she sees Mary, who kind of is a she's not an unworthy mother, but she's naive and doesn't really know what she has and doesn't really know the best way about it. But obviously, Ethel's had a lot of time to think about how she would have done it and how her life would have been different had it have happened. And that to me does embody this kind of underbelly of loneliness that Ethel, truly has felt. And like I said, it was one of the videos I wanted to make really early on, but I don't think we ever did because it just didn't work. Like, didn't understand how it did tonally. But yeah, there's just it's why when you dig deeper, there's so much kind of intriguing depth to a lot of these characters where they aren't just one note and they aren't just boring. Yeah, Ethel may be kind of played for laughs, but that is a human being there, and she has her demons like we all do. It's just really fucking cool.
yeah. Hold on. Drink. I have like three more comments to read of this, but I don't mind. Um. So yeah, all in all, another enjoyable week. It may not be as dramatic as week one, but it depends. The characters and lays the groundwork.
Deepens.
What's it say?
Deepens.
Oh, deepens. Sorry, it deepens the characters and lays the groundwork for what's to come. So here are my awards from week two. Julie and Tony Award, lofty. He's a bit of a muppet, but he means well. And is a solid addition to the square. Trouble seems to follow him. Seems to follow. Only if he knew what happens a week later and what Lofty is wearing. um, Sue Osmond Award, Detective Terry Rich, disappointing, unconvincing, and not enjoyable on screen. Saeed is a close second.
I'm
Underrated
glad that
award.
the Saeed hate is growing.
Underrated award. Michelle, the amount she puts up with for that family with minimal, sorry, minimal appreciation makes her the most underrated character for me. Who needs slapping down award? Detective Terry Rich again. His attitude towards Tony was unacceptable, even by 80 standards, as he was definitely harder on him than others. final thoughts. Arthur finally has work, at least temporarily, so congrats to Arthur Fowler. Mark is definitely questionable. He can't find the bog roll and nicks his mum's cigarettes. Like, Sash will give out to me if I say the other word. If I were watching this with no prior
Ah, you
knowledge, I'd
can
probably
read it
find it
out.
just as suspicious as Nick Cotton. Just not racist. Anyway, that's everything for week 2. Thank you, Ash and Piggy, for all the amazing work you do and the outstanding content you give the Watching Walford community. Now, they have
Ah, cheers, Luke. As always, these comments make this podcast, so no pressure. No, just look. We appreciate the comments. It's I don't know. It's a weird thing where I don't know. Some people are just really good at asking cool questions, and Luke's just really good at asking questions that actually allow us to dig a little bit deeper and kind of take it places we wouldn't otherwise think about. Like the whole conversation about Lou being or Ethel being a character who's left behind. Probably wouldn't have even thought about discussing that, but you asked some cool questions, so thank you, Luke, and thank you for continuing to support the channel.
um. Sorry, let me just continue on now. So obviously we're at episode 6. Yeah, 6. Uh,
Yeah,
and this comment by Luke says, I think this will be my last. So this is the last comment, but I'm just going to read it now. So they say, I think this will be my last comment on this episode of Classic Podcast. Again, sorry to Ash and Peggy for probably getting too involved. Don't stress it, mate. You do a lot for this channel, and people will continue to suck you off until the end of time. Um, put it lightly, please. Please don't specify your age. I would prefer to leave that joke as a joke. Um, when you read my comment about Michelle being unfortunate and sleeping in with Arthur and Pauline, you both said you thought it was Lou. I decided to go back and listen to all the Beale Fowler scenes in that episode to try and find it out. I felt certain it had been mentioned directly. I can confirm in episode 21, Michelle and Sharon are talking. And within that conversation, Sharon admits her parents sleep in separate rooms. Michelle responds, and I quote, yeah, well, we're 3 in a room, but only this curtain dividing us. It's really horrible. Me, the gooseberry. Um, this exchange happens at around the 10-minute mark of the episode. In my quest to work out the Beale Fowler living arrangements, I also pieced together how number 5 is set up in 1985. Number 45
45.
is a 2-bedroom house originally bought by Albert and Lou Beale. Lou sleeps in the back of the back bedroom, likely the box room. Arthur and Pauline sleep in what must be the master bedroom, with Michelle partitioned off by a curtain in the same room. Mark sleeps in the front room on the sofa. So he sleeps downstairs. No,
Yeah, yeah.
only. Um. al- Also, in question about Tony's house that he's currently building and
I suppose
renovating.
also, I guess I'll just add some bits to that because obviously Luke made the effort to type it up. I mean, it's just kind of it was just the attitudes after the war, really, where all the families live in one house. If they're far away, they may possibly, be in danger in a different way. So a lot of the families just lived in the same houses, and you didn't really, you didn't really want to separate. And in a sense, the parents would then take care of the grandparents, and the kind of the cycle would complete itself in a way. So it makes sense why they kind of they live in very cramped conditions, but they make it work because they are family, and that's the cool part about it.
Um. So continuing on. They say also in answer to the question about Tony's house that he's currently building and renovating as we watch. It's number 3, Albert Square. Tony eventually splits it into 3 separate flats: 3A, 3B, and 3C. Um, 3A was originally occupied by Calvin, and in the 2000s, Minty and Gary's flat. As of
Nice.
2026, it is currently unoccupied after Bernie and Felix moved out. 3B was Tony's own flat and is currently occupied by Zach Hudson and Barney Mitchell. Finally, 3C was originally occupied by Barry and Cullen. Its current occupants are unknown, according to what I can find.
Fair, cool. It's nice that nice that the history is out there if you have the time to find it. But like, it's
Um,
cool to think that the flats that Tony was building 41 years ago are still in play. I'm obviously they're completely different looking, but it's cool that these are the foundations.
and continuing on. He says, I did some research for you guys, and it might be an interest to read out on the next podcast, or it might be a complete waste of time. Fair enough. I'll read it out. I'll read it out. Um, we've talked a lot about Pete Beale and how he seems more well off than others on the square. So I looked into it. In 1985 Britain, the average yearly salary was £6,867, as in successful businessmen and trusted market traders. Having inherited the fruit and veg stall from Albert Beale, I'm going to estimate Pete was earning between 8,000 and 9,000 annually. From what I found, the fruit and veg stall is still considered a prime pitch location, with the stall having built up a strong reputation over decades, not just during Pete's 20 years running it, but also under Albert before him. It would have been well respected and popular with customers. An established market stall in the 1980s was typically valued between 8,000 and 12,000. Not bad. If we combine Pete's estimated annual earnings with the value of the stall as an asset, his net worth in 1985 would likely sit between 16,000 and 21,000. Adjusted for inflation, that would roughly be 60, 62,929
62,000.
and 60 pence. Um, uh, and then from 21,000, it would be 82,594 and 28 pence. So that's fucking a lot with inflation. However, where Pete falls
Yeah,
short, what'd you say?
just agreeing.
Oh, sorry. However, where Pete falls short compared to someone like Ian, who later inherits 45 Albert Square, is property ownership. Pete didn't own his house, which would have significantly boosted his asset base. I also found that in 1985, household wealth was growing, and a trader's household like Pete Pete's would have likely had between 3,000 and 5,000 in savings. In today's money, that is approximately 11,000, I think that's 11,799 and
Yeah.
30 pence, to 19,665 and 30 pence. So if we add savings to his income and stall value, Pete's total estimate worth in 1985 would sit between 19 to 26,000. Adjusted from inflation, that's approximately 74,728 and 90 cents, to 102,260 and 60 cents in today's terms. And in an economy where the average point was 77p, a pint of milk was 23p. When you put it all together, you can see how P could realistically be considered comfortable, if even relatively well off for the square at the time. Obviously, this is all speculation, but I found it interesting and I thought I'd share in case anyone else was curious. An extra thought: if Pete had owned a property like Lou's house at 45 Albert Square, that would have been approximately 32,000 to 35,000 in 1985. In today's money, that's 125,857 and 94 cents to 137,657 and 13 cents. Had P owned property on top of his stall earning
Ladies.
savings, his net worth would have increased significantly. But unfortunately for Pete, that never happened.
Ain't no sense in our great British pound. No, I mean, all I can really add to this and say, look, there's a bunch of cool works, bunch of cool way to interface and do it. But with you having to read that, it just made me realize that we're all a bunch of fucking nerds. Like fucking. Just look, credit to Luke for doing that. Fair play. I don't think I'd ever do it because maths is not my strong suit, and it was really interesting to read and try and juxtapose it to now. But fuck me, we're all a bunch of nerds, aren't we?
And they have one more,
So if you do the inflation cat up to Christ,
uh,
our box is all collectively gone.
they have one more stuff for us. I'd figured I'd throw in some questions, talking points or potential talking points for the next episode. Number one, want to do the whappish for me? Number one.
Nah.
Okay. In these early episodes, does the square feel more like a genuine community compared to modern EastEnders? For me, it feels more organic and believable, like a real place where these people live. In contrast, modern EastEnders sometimes feels more story-driven and sensationalized, where the plot takes priority over the setting. Do you think branding things and keeping them simpler actually makes the show stronger?
Um, in a sense, yes, but I feel like if people watched, I feel like if people would watch classic EastEnders and not watch it from the lens of classic EastEnders, say you essentially went, I'm just going to pick a random year of EastEnders and watch it. I feel like if a modern fan watched this, they'd probably be like, this is just boring. This nothing happens. So I think it just depends. It depends as to what you view a good soap as. I mean, even lately, I mean, there's a video. Oh no, I mean, this it'll already be out by the time this is out. But the Coronation Street boss and the Emmerdale boss was doing an interview saying about how it feels like I should just go ahead and it feels like we should do, we should upgrade the cameras because we don't want to be left behind by big streaming services. And it kind of falls tone deaf because what makes a soap brilliant is it is a fucking soap. It's supposed to be grounded in reality and it's supposed to feel real. And that through time does definitely, things become very surreal and things become much different in a way. So I think I think we all have different tastes. I think Claskenders has a real charm and I do love it for it, but equally, if I'm going to watch any kind of episodes, if I'm looking for the big episodes, there's a reason why most of the big episodes aren't really in the 80s because the scope was a lot narrower.
I feel like you've summed it up perfectly. I feel like in this time in 1995, I feel more genuine and more like complex than it does nowadays, where it feels oversaturated in a sense. Because to me, if you ground reality and like make it believable, people would enjoy it. It's not to say that you can't make it enjoyable by making it gravitas and shit, but um, the problem lies in the fact that this feels more like a community of people who live together. Like Pete and Den are good friends. Arthur and Pete are good friends. Lou and Ethel are good friends. It all feels like they're a knitted community that before the cameras rolled. I know that makes it sound like the Truman Show, but before the cameras rolled, they generally seemed like a genuine community and not just a bunch of actors who showed up to set. It's like, all right, Leslie Grantham, I fucking hate you, but we're in this scene together, so I'm gonna like you. It generally feels like they're both going, oh yeah, 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 we love each other, we're best friends. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about this.
But no, and I think also just finally, I also just go back to well, we put in the reactions one time the interview that Gretchen Franklin did, who plays Ethel, where they said, "Oh, you guys you're all stars," and she goes, "No, we're not all stars. We're household names." And then says, "Yeah, but if you asked someone who my name was, they'd say Ethel Skinner." So like, I think it's grounded within its own parameters, which is a very wanky way to say it is it's not trying to be anything greater. And I think that's where soaps are its strongest, where it's a good format, it's a good genre. Not many things have this amount of legacy and this amount of years invested in these programs. And when you try to break these traditions, I get it in a sense where you want to do something new and fresh because it's been going on so long. But fundamentally, it still has a very strong core value that it feels like you have to keep on. Otherwise, your long term viewers will fuck off. And that's what kind of I mean, that's why people. I mean, it's what the Gavin and Stacey joke where fuck the comedian, I forget his name, Rob Brydon's like, oh well, I stopped watching when Den Watts came back to the dead. That was too far. That was. It's like, yeah, fair enough. Like that's why some people keep it to the past because when it gets a little bit too hard to take seriously, and I will say I do hate the people who judge everything by going, I can't suspend my disbelief. You're watching a show, dickhead. You're watching a fucking show. Suspend the disbelief that you're watching a TV show about a fictional fucking thing. Like, fuck off. I hate those people who just go, yeah, well, the issue with Sonia leaving is they didn't really have time to, like, get a visa and that. Oh, fuck off. Who cares? It's a show. It's a fucking show. Leave it out. But, anyways, I just hate those people. Like, just you sat down, you've bought into watching the show. Don't fucking go. But it's just not very believable to me. Sir, you're watching a Halloween, the show where Michael Myers kills people and is immortal. Like fucking. Oh, I'm sorry, it didn't fucking make perfect 100% sense. Anyways, But to fucking hell, how do I get back after that tangent? But you have to keep it within being a soap, because if you try to do any more, like say Coronation Street's doing a bunch of experimental editing and they're thinking of upgrading all their cameras and they're saying, oh, people mustn't like us because all our cameras are shit. And it's like, no, people don't like you because you keep trying to do stuff that's out of the lens of a soap and you're trying to be something bigger. But why would you try to be bigger when what you're doing works, and it has worked for so many years? And that's what they say. Like, EastEnders been on 41 years. Yeah, sure, you're probably never going to get the viewership you were getting in the 80s, but that's fine because you're never going to get that viewership back. The numbers will exponentially fall as time goes on, because it's it's been on for 40 years. Same with Coronation Street. The highs will never be as high as it were back then, but still, it's still an achievement that it's still on and it's still getting the same amount of screen time as it was like back then. So yeah, you need to stick to your core soap values. Yes, sometimes you can play with surreal elements, but fundamentally, you want it to feel like it's grounded in reality, and you want to feel like it is grounded. And if people don't feel like it's grounded, they will then stop believing all the stories and stop believing it's real. And when people stop believing it's real, a lot of people do just kind of pack up, because a la wrestling.
Yeah. Um, Continuing on with the next comment. Number 2. Do you prefer conflicts that are more character driven or plot driven, and why does that work better for you?
um I'd say family driven. I like the conflicts that are within families. I think that's the whole point. I'm fine with plot driven stuff, but I think fundamentally my preferred EastEnders is like the Chris Clenshaw period, where a lot of it is grounded in something happens to one person in the family. How does everybody react to it? How do you process it? And I think that to me is really good. But say when we were doing the fucking Ben Mitchell show and Ben was struggling and it was all, what is Ben's next? That's why I mock that time period, because it's like, all right, Whitney Dean, who, and Ben Mitchell, two characters who get all of the tragic storylines, and Mick Carter on top of it, they all get all the tragic storylines, and they're just going to move from tragic plot to tragic plot to try and prove why they're actually a tragic character. But I like, it was just overkill. So I
Don't
prefer the
get grey
little
at them.
family based drama. Yeah, that too.
I before conflicts that are more character driven. Like I prefer a bit of A and a bit of B if I can dip my finger in
Yeah,
the what's it say?
I'd say yeah.
If I can dip my finger in the humas, what Max Brandon. Um, like I prefer a bit of A and a bit of B. Like when it works for characters, I prefer it, but I do like it when it is for plots as well. Because again, obviously the biggest plot of this era of EastEnders is obviously Den Watts falling into the canal and who is Michelle's baby daddy is really the two things, which doesn't really get revealed until
And
like
just the divorce papers.
yeah, Happy Christmas, Ange. Don't know why he's smoking 20 a day, but yeah.
I
Um,
mean, I'll even say that as you're like the fucking you're like the old woman in the chocolate episode of SpongeBob. It's like, what did he say? I like agree and like, what?
sorry, mate, you eat it.
did did somebody say chocolates? Fucking
Oh, I could kill a chocolate bar right now.
what did they say? But
um,
yeah, obviously you're having some problems with your ears, so that's just
yeah, don't. So just word of advice: don't play Trumbo Bumper at 100% into your ears. That's all I'll say. Um, I'm
yeah,
deaf.
old man me doesn't even let me blast music as loud as I used to anymore, because I just, if you even have a slight hint of like ear issues, you go, maybe I shouldn't just blast music at fucking turbo volume straight into my ears.
Yep, but
Does make it less fun though, unfortunately.
but I do prefer a bit of A and a bit of B if I can cheat. But if I had to choose one definitive one, I prefer character-driven motives and conflict. Um, so continuing on, there's 10 questions by the way. On to number 3. This era so far feels, as Ash said, more humble than today. Do you think that humility has been lost in modern EastEnders and in soap in general. Is there a continuation? Does
Yeah, there's more questions.
does um you can mostly answer this because I don't really have like a dog in the fight.
Oh, well, it's just, even the others just says, does the slower pacing and smaller scale storytelling feel more immersive to you, or have audiences tasted shifted too much for that style to work now? Um, I don't think humility's lost, but as I always maintain with these sorts of questions, I don't think it's ever going to feel as real as it did at the start. And that's fine, because it would be pretty wild. It's just the scope continues to get wider and wider as it's trying to appeal to a different audience. And I feel like a lot of the soap audience, yeah, sure, there are a lot of casuals, but there are also a lot of like hardcore fucking fans who have watched as much as they can get their hands on. So I feel like for a beginner, I felt like you could watch this and go, "Oh man, this is fucking cool." But then you'd watch current EastEnders and be like, "Man, this doesn't fit, this is barely the same show." So I don't think it's gone. I still think it's there. I still think they try to keep it in, but ultimately, I like even this. Let's say the current Ian and Elaine feud. If it happened in the 80s, it would just be normal and bog standard. And people would probably be like, "Oh, it's a bit grown worthy, but fuck it, who cares?" But you do it now and people get sick of it very quickly. So I think the tolerance of the more boring stuff or the more kind of humbling stuff, I feel like people don't really tolerate it anymore, because I mean we do just cater to, oh, what's next, what's next, oh, that's big, oh, that's fucking cool, that's a big moment, yeah, what's next? And then through time people just kind of, yeah, I mean it's the time honored thing of people saying that, attention spans getting worse, but a lot of us do flock to, and even with how today is generally, everybody flocks to the biggest, the loudest, the most hyperbolic of opinion. So just watching something a little bit kind of mid and boring is the worst crime anybody can ever do. And I think that's how I feel like a lot of people would bounce off 85, and they still try to keep some of those elements, but they have to try keep it a massive scope, because you now have to write tons of huge traumatic storylines for everyone and have to cycle through it at a fairly advanced rate. And yeah, um, so I don't think it's definitely been lost in a way, but it's definitely become bigger than what it used to be. So therefore, it has to cater to something slightly different. Does slower pacing, small scale storytelling feel more immersive to you? Immersive, yes. In just essentially, I believe that these characters are real people, and I 100% could believe that these are real people that exist. Um, I made a short about this lately, but it's just you take a look at the houses. All the houses are fucking shitly done, fully packed in. But you got houses in soap now, and they are overproduced as fuck. There's about 700 chairs in every fucking room. It's all bright and colorful, and it's like, basically, usually, I mean, Corey had a big deal with like eBay where they were to get pre-loved furniture, so that meant every single flat is over fucking done to an absolute T. So I think through time the subtlety has kind of gone, because you're never seeing, unless it's a properly dingy flat, you're never seeing a Mary the Punk flat that has mold on the fucking roof anymore, because everything kind of, because of the high def cameras, it feels like everything has to look really, really kind of tapped in. It has to look really proper, and I don't know, they just don't really trifle with it. It's why they're desperate to redo Dot's house, because that is fairly archaic in itself, but it just doesn't look as nice in higher def cameras. Um, do or has audience taste shifted too much that style to work now? Well, I think it's just the general point where a lot of people don't often seek out EastEnders or soap from within the lens that they're watching it in. And by that, I mean, if you're a fan of EastEnders in 2026, you'll maybe look at 2025 a little bit, or 2024, but typically you're probably just going to stick to what you know. And a lot of us don't actually seek out, like some of us do. I mean, Luke's been fucking watching like Classic Ender's been watching EastEnders from 2008 onwards. Like, a lot of us don't just go back and watch everything. So I feel like a lot of people would bounce off of this era just because it's a little bit more uh, laid back, and that's fine because it's a humble beginning.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to this unless you want me to. But um,
I'm not going to force you, mate.
do I think?
You do have free will.
Do you think humility has been lost? Yeah,
You
in the
ready on
sense.
those?
What did you say?
Oh wait, you actually answer it. Never mind. I thought I don't have anything to say. Then you start answering the question.
But I'm gonna have a bit on this, but it is sort of a lost art. I do prefer when houses don't look professional and shit, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like they don't look like my first job is to decorate a soap's house. Like I prefer when it looks more realistic. Like when fucking Reg Cox's place has booze on the floor and dirty magazines because he's a dirty pervert. Like I
I
prefer
mean,
that than fucking
you
when you.
even take like it's like imagine the way I think about it, which I think makes a bunch of sense, is when you go into like a proper old cafe that looks like it's not been done up since the 90s. I feel like I feel like all of these sets have that distinct charm because they are a depiction of like how it was. Whereas if you look at all the flats now, it and all the houses now, they're just kind of uncanny and kind of unrecognizable because there's so much going on. Whereas like the Slaters constantly poverty stricken, but also their house is perfectly fucking decorated from like teats to fucking tits, all across the walls everywhere. And like the Taylors, even though the Taylors were the also poverty stricken, they also had everything acutely decorated as well. So it's just one of those weird things. But it's just I don't know. I don't think they can help themselves. It's just the industry's grown so much that I still feel like you do have like set designers who would just go, yeah, but what the fuck do I do if I just have to make what? I just have to make it like old and shit. Nah, fuck that. Let's fill it with everything.
Continuing on with the next question, on number 4, is Arthur Fowler already doomed in the writing, or does that feeling it only exists in hindsight? Even this early, does it feel like he was always destined to struggle and never truly succeed?
I mean, Arthur's kind of the perennially never lucky character, and those characters don't often get anything really good. They have a day, they have a week, they have a month, they never have a year. So that to me, like it's like Millhouse. Millhouse has about one good day in his life, and that's it. It's all shit. It's all shit. It doesn't work out for him. He's never lucky, and it all goes bad. That's Arthur Fowler. Like he's gotten the wife and the kids. That's great. That's all he's doing. He had the job for a long period of time. So yes, in this he is doomed in a way. And knowing how it goes, obviously he is doomed. But I think it's just some people just live really cursed existences, and Arthur's just one of them. That to me is very real. It's very honest.
I mean, you said to me off camera once that you don't know how I honestly live with what happened, like just how I exist most days, and that's honestly how I feel with Arthur. It's like I don't know how he exists. Then again, it's just Arthur Fowler. I just love him. Yeah, that is generally a quote though. Ash did turn to me one day and go, "Piggy, I don't even know how you live," and I went, "Yeah, yeah." It was something like that. He just goes, "Man, how are you alive?" I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
make sense, but you still manage, and it's like, okay, cool, fair enough, I guess. All the power to you.
Uh, number 5. Are Den and Angie iconic figures from the very start, or did the status grow because of audience reaction over time?
Um, I mean, obviously popularity comes into it, right? Like you only really get a perception around you if people care, and Angie and Den were fantastic at allowing people to care because Angie is relatable. I feel like everybody has at least in one point of their lives had an unrequited crush or somebody where they want you want them to love you but they don't love you that back or they don't love you that way. I feel like everybody can relate to that. And then Den is the kind of sexy, suave, probably not entirely trustworthy, but he's just got something about him that draws you to him. He's got that presence which just helps. So I don't think they were written as iconic characters, but obviously they were put as the publicans. They were put in the Vic at the fucking heart of the show. So they were poised. They were in the best position to grow, and obviously the audience helped because both of them are insanely talented actors and really did a good job at developing really multifaceted characters. And there's no surprise that both of them went to leave to try and do bigger and better things. And I mean, Anita Dobson succeeded. Leslie Grantham just kind of faded away, really. But
Hey,
I
hey, hey,
mean, they are
hey.
they are
Fort
legendary characters in their own right.
Fort Boyard. Do not diss Fort Boyard. He succeeded on that. My favorite thing, right? Just side note, on like personality with Leslie Grantham, is just amazing how everyone just still viewed him post Den Watts as Den Watts, whereas Anita Dobson, they
Yeah.
actually went, "Oh, you are like an actual good actor." Everyone just went, "You are a dirty old man," essentially, and how right they are.
Well, no, that's only really there because of the sex scandal, isn't it?
Well, no, no, no. But even after he left,
Let's be
they just
real.
viewed him as a hard man and didn't really.
Yeah, he was typecast as Den Watts, but he wasn't really viewed as a little perv until the sex scandal, in my opinion.
Ah, but do
I
not
feel like that. I feel like that's like later on. That's like retroactive adding to it.
but don't disrespect Fort Boyard legend Leslie Grantham. Um, but like they are iconic figures from the start because again, with hindsight, you do know how a legendary Den Watts does become. To me, they're not at the very start legendary, but throughout '85 and '86, they will reach that status and become successful, like high patriarchy characters. The one shame that I will say is the fact that Anita Dobson never gets a second run as Angie Watts. I know people will say 2025, but she never gets an active like second go as the character, like Den did, like what Leslie Grantham did as Den in all three. Because that would have been so great had they not killed her off in '02, like off screen. They actually kept her to
Yeah,
like
fully,
maybe bring her back.
absolutely.
Yeah, to maybe bring her back and like do something with her because I feel like it would have been. I know maybe not the 2010s because they would have been shoddy writing, but it would have been interesting to see like an old Angie being like, "I outlived Den, didn't I? I outlived him twice. Get fucked, you dickhead." It's just
I mean,
Angie.
the funniest one was how when Den Watts visits Angie's grave, he kind of makes the joke of like buried together. Fucking hell, who did that? That must be a sick joke. But yeah, that to me is the saddest bit. But I suppose at least the little cameo at the 40th anniversary was the closure because we never got that closure with Angie because she did die off screen in '02. So yeah, it is a shame that Den was able to come back and we didn't get any form of Angie. And they wanted to try and make someone like and basically they tried to make Chrissy that foil to Den, but slightly different, slightly advanced, and you know it just leaves you wanting for Angie. But yeah, I to answer the question fully though, they were both poised as very they were in the perfect position to propel the greatness and stardom, and that did. But equally, someone like Lofty, who didn't really, he's not exactly pushed as a kind of big figure. Even he became astronomically huge, despite him being a fucking doormat and just parading around with a swastika on his chest for like in week two, well, week three. So you know, even though Lofty wasn't necessarily in the best position, he still thrived, and so did a lot of characters, right? I mean, is why Susan Tully is so sought after as a Michelle return because in the beginning, her character, and especially through the '90s, her character is so iconic that a lot of us, not even knowing who the fuck not even knowing who Michelle Fowler is, you still kind of look at it and go, yeah, but they are legendary. So
I will continue on. Four more questions are left, Ash, if you don't mind.
yeah.
Um, So wait, no, four. Yeah, four. Do episode 3 and 4 suggest that EastEnders was always designed as a tragedy for ordinary life rather than just a continuing drama?
I mean, it's a soap at the end of the day, right? It was. I mean, EastEnders was made to rival Coronation Street, and Coronation Street is a continuing drama, and it's not necessarily about tragedy. It is just about ordinary lives from people up north. And that to me is EastEnders wanted to be a continuing drama about people who live in London. So it's just the simple. I would say it is just continuing drama, personally.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Honestly. Um, Number 7. Does the show seem confident in direction this early on, or does it only appear that way in with hindsight? It To me, it does feel like they are confident in the direction. Julia Smith and Tony Holland did seem like they have the finger on the buzzer because I believe they planned or at least wrote at least a year in advance. I want to make the assumption because they had pretty
I mean,
much
yeah, they had to rechange a bunch of scripts when Mark left. So yeah, they had kind of feverishly planned out everything.
yeah. So obviously I do think like what was the word I'm looking for? Like they were just designed to continue. That makes sense. They were confident, I should say, in that direction. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree. I think they had a good idea and they obviously planned it out quite strictly. And EastEnders made and BBC made a real big kind of dent actually planning out the lot and planning out all the sets and like getting everything built and made. Because obviously they had to build all this stuff in order to film it there, right? They didn't just hire a bunch of houses; they had to build it all. Um, as far as I, or at least they had to build a bunch of the set and the lots and stuff. So, um, I don't know. I think it's touch and go, really. I don't think they had one true big overarching plan. I think they had a bunch of really interesting ideas and they knew how characters were going to go and what their initial arcs were going to be. But I don't really think, I mean, they couldn't have imagined where it would have gone for sure. So I don't think it's I don't think it's quietly assured or confident. I think it is just hindsight that makes us believe that everything they did was really smart. They know what they were doing. Like, I mean, just take a look at the fucking golden circle pyramid scheme for fuck's sake. Like, they were throwing some shit at the wall, and it just happened that a lot of it kind of took shape. And also, it did help it was on the fucking BBC. So it's it once again, it was positioned in a really good spot. But likewise, when BBC tried to greenlit El Dorado, not every soap you're going to put out is going to function. And El Dorado is a fucking rotting husk that never really got anywhere because it was too expensive and didn't really work. So yeah, so it's a lot more confident than that one was.
Number 8. Without spoiling anything, can we already see the groundwork being laid for major long-term arcs? How much forward planning do you think Joni Smith, Julia Smith, and Tony Holland did? And how much do you think they evolved retroactively as the show aired? Um,
I mean, we basically just described this really. I think they knew where characters were going necessarily. They had a big plan for a lot of them. I I but I do think a lot of it was just feeling it around because unlike planning stories today, you don't essentially need a whole document by being like, "Oh, hey, we're doing a domestic violence storyline and we're working with this charity to depict this social issue in a very important light." I think they were kind of they knew their characters and what they wanted out of them, and you can tell a lot of what the characters will do by their characterization. Like, oh, I don't really want to spoil a bunch of them, but I mean, Sharon essentially. Sharon is the spoiled, pampered princess, and that's who she is, and that's what she'll continue to do. And her actions will come back to the fact that she is a spoiled, pampered princess in a loveless kind of marriage, essentially. So, she, a lot of her actions are a part of her trying to act out and trying to get what her parents don't have. So, I think they were quite confident especially because I mean, you take the story of yeah. Once again, it's been a hot topic in this with the Mark Fowler exit. Obviously, they pushed forward Simon Wicks's arrival to 85 when it was supposed to be in 86 with Pat. And so that meant that they had enough planned out to know what they could shuffle forward and what they could kind of slowly eke out. But I don't know how long term they thought they had the show for, but I definitely think they had a lot of big ideas, but equally, I mean, the first two real exits from the show aren't like it did feel like a lot of those were going, well, this one didn't really work too well, so may as well just shelve it. So that's all I'll say on that.
And number 9. How natural does the dialogue feel compared to later eras? It feels interesting. It's I will say a stark difference. A stark difference. Especially when in episode 1 you literally have Lubeel go, you know it's bad when them Asians find you, and then you have fucking Nick Hot mentioning the black economy. Some stuff that wouldn't fly today. So it is very different to see the dialogue, and especially how times have evolved and how censorship you know, watersheds basically work. I know that sounds very wanky, but that's honestly how I see it.
I think the major difference for me is when they do like swearing or whatever. Where they don't say bollocking, they say rollicking. They don't say fuck off, they say naff off. That for me is where it gets the most hokey, but fundamentally I think it's quite natural.
And number 10, is Michelle already positioned as a more emotionally intelligent than her parents?
Yes. In a way, I think she's more emotionally intelligent, but like maturity, like she's mature in a way, but as we'll come to learn, not necessarily with men. I
Uh,
like that. That to me is Michelle's downfall. But emotionally intelligent, she is basically the only like Beale Fowler who actually understands what she's required to do, and she'll take the shit stick and make it work essentially.
and they continue off with their, these are just ideas. I don't expect you to cover them all, but I'm really enjoying diving into themes and layers of these early episodes. Thank you, Luke the Hoovian, and thank you, SD Cricket
For
fan.
this 1 hour and 20 segment.
Exactly. Um,
As you can see, Piggy get progressively more tired. Uh,
but now I will do the outro because I've nothing else to add, and I feel like we're all getting a bit hungry and shit. So, um,
he's not even speaking as loud anymore. That's you can tell he's like, yeah, yeah, that's alright. That. Hey, I mean, it was a fun podcast, all in all. Once again, if Luke ever stops doing the questions, this podcast will be 30 minutes.
so don't stop
But
the
it's a cool way, and likewise, I appreciate all the questions because we're not just answering it in a way where it's like, oh, is that a thing? Yeah, it is done. So like we're actually kind of interpreting it and taking it into our own, and likewise, it takes us in some weird places, which I think is what makes the podcast both unique and more interesting. Possibly a little bit too self wanky, but Ah, I mean, this is our channel. Like, what the fuck do you want us to do? But hey, it's really fun, and thank you, Luke, and thank you, ST Cricket Fan. Thank you, Daniel LUFC, for all of the comments. We do appreciate them, and this helps make this podcast a whole lot longer than it should be.
right.
And in a sense, you're also getting free content with the reactions. Well, not free, but content with the reactions.
I forgot we have one other topic we have to do, and that is to shout out the
Fucking
members.
hell, do we?
That is to shout out the
Oh yeah,
members.
yeah.
And we have the members as follows. For fans, we have Luca X6X2X6, and Ollie Kingston 7530, and Stephen Griffin 4894. That is all the fans. And for watchers, we have Luke the Ultimate Hoovian, the Briar Gonzalez, ST Cricket Fan, the Rivets, and oh, I forgot Flora, wherever Flora is. They're not here, but I will just count Flora. So yeah,
I think Flora's unsubbed.
fuck you, Flora. You're getting an angry message. Nah, no, they're fine. They're fine. They're Airfire blew up. So
But yeah, thank you to all the members once again. We do appreciate you, and we are humbled and always greatly courteous and grateful for you guys continuing to directly support the channel, and it makes it all feel worth it. And especially, as I always say, that my favorite bits about this is always not to say fuck all the normal viewers, because obviously all the attention we get from normal viewers as well, but once again, one of my favorite things is seeing, usually when we record content on a Monday, we release a bunch of the episodes early, and I always love looking at, like, oh, this video's got like 5 views and a couple likes, and I'm like, yeah, the members have actually been watching the content that we release early. Fucking legends. That to me is always something I'm like, yeah. Fuck all you plebs. No.
But without further ado, grab your pint. It's closing time. One last call for alcohol as we say goodbye, good night, farewell. See you in the next one. Subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out. Bye bye. Bye bye.